Hello, hello. Welcome to Girl Let's Agree to Disagree. I'm your host, Jessica Milagros. I'm here with Kisses Kemi. Why did I say Kisses Kemi? I don't know why I said
Honestly,
Kisses Kemi.
people have been calling me that, like, in public.
People are calling that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I should just change my username on everything back to, like, Kemi. Well, I've never had Kemi Kunle. I tried to get it, but someone won't give it up. But, yeah, no, people...
Wait, someone has Kisses Kemi as their...
No, someone has Kemi Kunle. And I'm like, it's quite literally my name, but...
So you're telling me there's another Kemi Fakunle, like, roaming the streets?
In Lagos, in Nigeria, yes. And she won't give up my name. So, yeah. But I'm cool with Kisses Kemi for now. You know?
Well, Kemi and I are going to be talking about this most amazing season of Euphoria. But before we talk about it, follow us on all of the IG, Twitter handles. If you don't already, click like and subscribe, click to receive our notifications. Kisses Kemi and I have decided that we will be recapping Euphoria for those that have asked to talk about the season. So we'll be doing this weekly, Kemi?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, Euphoria is literally all I want to talk about these days. Like, Jessica knows. Like, we both started watching it a few days ago. We binged season 1, and then we've been watching season 2. And, like, honestly, I'm so glad that we're watching it late because I feel bad for the people. Hey, Jacqueline.
Hey, Jacqueline.
I feel bad for the people who watched it when it aired 2 years ago, and they had to wait 2 years for this.
I know, right? I'm so happy that I decided to binge it and then just go straight on into season 2, because that would have been hard to just wait all that time for the second season.
I mean, it was hard enough to wait 1 week for the next episode for me. So even though this episode, I feel like it was harder for me to wait this past week than it is going to be for me to wait this next week, if that makes sense.
Like, you're more excited to see what's happening next week?
No, I'm not as excited. I mean, I feel like we'll get into it, but this episode really left me dazed and confused. So, yeah.
Okay, so for those, and hi to everybody who's here watching us live. We appreciate you. Hey, David. So this is what we're going to get into. So we watched the first 2 episodes. This is going to be our first recap, but we're going to kind of talk about the first and the second episode kind of as a whole, right, Kemi?
Right.
So we left off, obviously, that for those who have watched the first season, we kind of watch this like kind of cliffhanger. They're at their, would you consider this, was this prom?
Prom? What do you mean? Oh, no.
The dance?
Oh,
at the end of season 1?
I think it was just this a dance. I don't think it was prom because
it just felt very odd. But you know, kind of that cliffhanger. Rue's been, you know, we were rooting for Rue, at least I was. We were rooting for Rue to stay sober, and she was sober for a good 3+ months. Had met Jules, you know, all that good stuff, and she decides to go on this kind of binge of like, let's go, and then decides not to leave the city with her. Right. And that's kind of like that type of cliffhanger, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I completely understand where she was coming from. Like, her mom already thinks she's so chaotic, so like, why even add to that? Like, and then I think she just had a little bit of anxiety about like just like progressing with Jules and things like that. And I can understand that because I used to be like that. Like, if it gets in too deep, then it's like, whoa, let's relax for a second.
Yeah. So, and here's the thing, like, I could understand that, like, in sense, I kind of, even though I've never been a drug addict, I can understand Rue's, you know, I can really empathize with Rue, because it is one of those things where you kind of just go out on a limb and you're just like, let's do it. And then you're just like, oh, wait. Let's backtrack. I can't do this. But she's, in sense, almost her own saboteur. And that's what, like, she literally sabotages herself numerous times. which we see.
I mean, I feel like, you know, people who are addicted to anything, like that's really what it is. Like it's a form of self-sabotage because you know that it's not good for you and you know that you shouldn't be doing it, but you're doing it anyways. It's like me when I always get like a side of potatoes for breakfast instead of the fruit. Like I know it's not right. And I still do it anyways, even though I'm always claiming to be on a diet. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about these characters though. As of right now, who's your favorite character, Kemi?
Oh my God, easily Maddie. Easily. Like no
Yeah.
competition.
What about her?
I mean, it's just giving me the energy that I feel like all young women deserve and need to exude. However, she is a little bit chaotic. You know,
Chaotic is not the word, but I don't know yeah, chaos can be a word, but like she's a little bit more than chaotic. I'm like, whoa, this chick.
her personality is very, very strong. I don't know that I could be friends with someone like her because I feel like I'm that person in my friend group. So imagine like being friends with some like two people like that hanging out with each other. It could be a little bit much. But I do really like her because I feel like she resonates with like who I am now if I've had a few drinks.
Yeah. You know what? I will have to say I agree. Like Maddie, in when I'm talking about the girls, I think I can very much see like Maddie just outshining a lot of them. But I'm gonna say Kat right now. Kat is my like we don't believe in spirit, like my, you know, she's just kind of like my soul sister. I feel like I identify with her in so many different ways. Yeah, because I don't know, people talk shit about saying spirit animal, and she's obviously not an animal, although you know she presents as a really cute kitten. Um,
Yeah,
but
no, I really, really like Kat. I
Kat,
like Kat a lot.
yeah, I think out of all of them, I identify the most with Kat because in high school I was kind of a cat, actually very much of a cat. Not just because of the size, you know, just the size comparison in general. I was like the biggest girl in my girl group, and I had friends like Maddie and Cassie and, you know, all the rest of the girls. So I was always like the biggest girl, but I was also the most reserved, trying to pass as like a G, you know, and I feel like that was Kat, like in the beginning, you know,
Yeah.
she kind of started as like the virgin, trying to play it off like she wasn't a virgin, and then like
Were you the last virgin in your friend group? There's
um
the answer to this, so if you want to lie, you can go ahead.
no, I don't have to lie. I am totally okay with it. I was the very last virgin in my girl group. I lost my virginity at 23. So however,
It's a respectable age.
however, I did experience a lot of craziness in the in the meantime, and by no means was I at all like what people would consider like a virgin. I really didn't act, you know, act very virgin-esque, if that makes any sense.
She said I wasn't a prude.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no, I do actually really, really like Kat. I would say that in high school, and I did a YouTube video on this if you guys want to check it out on my channel, but in high school, I was definitely more of a Cassie. Not Cassie season 2. I was more of a Cassie season 1. I was so like incredibly fucking boy crazy. Like it's disgusting to think about now.
When you said Cassie to me, I was like, oh girl, you have time to change your answer. You have time to change your answer.
But in all honesty, like I was very like a sniper from the side, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like I would try to act so innocent, even though I was like I did not lose my virginity at 23. It was like a decade before that. But like, yeah, no, I was very much a Cassie. And I feel like now I still have like some Cassie traits. Like I'm very flirtatious. Like it's just, you know, Jess knows. Like I will literally sit there and flirt with Jess. But like Maddie, I feel like my personality is a lot stronger than Cassie's. So it's like more.
You're a good mix. I think you're like, if Maddie, I when you asked who you were, I automatically thought to Maddie. And when you said Cassie, I was just like, what? But after a while, I was like, oh, wait, I can kind of see that. I can see it a little bit. I would say that you would be like if Maddie and Cassie had a baby. I
Yeah.
would say it was just a very good mix of the both of them.
Yeah.
Probably the best of both of them, not the
And
worst
that's
of
why
them.
I feel
I'll
like
give you
these
this.
episodes, like, I'm interested to see where season 2 goes, because I feel like the only storyline that I care about is the love triangle now, you know? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like how much more of Rouge drug addiction are we gonna be,
True.
watching?
And
So
it will be a lot. So I just want to say, like, for those who either follow or don't follow like some of what's happening behind the scenes, they have said that this season of Euphoria is going to be absolutely devastating. Like, people are it's definitely going to be darker than last season, as we probably already saw. Even though last season was pretty dark already. Like, Kemi said that she had a high school like this, and I'm just like, whoa. But here's the thing: like, when I look at it, I guess my high school was very similar in a way. It's just the way that it's presented on
yeah,
TV, right? It's
yeah.
like the darkness. It's like you don't really see how dark it is, right? Like, when you're actually in it, it's just kind of like, oh my God, this happened. Oh my God, this happened. Like, but the way that Euphoria presents it is just so dark, and
And
it's
it's
so
it's the point of view, like the
it's
narration of Rue that really takes it there. Because I remember, I don't even know how to put this without, like, you guys, please don't cancel me for saying this, but like this guy at my school like committed suicide in the on the bleacher, like he hanged himself on the bleachers of the main football field. And I remember like it was like a big deal for like 2 days, and then something else happened. So I
yeah.
think because it's from the point of view of Rue and it's kind of like harping on these different things, I feel like a lot of people's high schools are like this, where like so many things are happening with so many different people, but like you're not personally connected to it, so it's not that big of a deal to you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I agree with Paige. It all really depends on the type of person you were, right? And whether, of course, I think everybody's high school was kind of like this, except it would depend on whether or not you were engaging in that type of behavior or not. If you were watching it from the sidelines or if you knew about it, but definitely not from this type of point of view, like you said. And I agree with you in terms of the whole like dark Rue thing. I also I also feel like, I don't know. I'm very, even though I love the show, it's definitely not something that I would let my teenager watch, of course. But and she's 15, but it's kind of like it almost glorifies or just it romanticizes this. Like, you're not seeing anybody do absolutely anything except doing drugs, fucking, and just like having I don't know, like having these wild, intense moments, right? And that's not real life. Like, you don't really see them going to school much. You don't see them doing a lot of, you don't see them going to work. Actually, this is the first time Fez, aside from Fez and now Maddie, who are the only two people that you've actually seen go to work, like to actually do something to make money, aside from Kat and her like Pornhub like or OnlyFans site. But if
I feel like it's funny with just what you just said, Jess. I think as you get older, you forget what it was like back in our day. Like, what about Degrassi?
well,
You were
exactly.
you were perfectly fine watching Degrassi, and now you're saying that you won't let your
Uh,
daughter who's the same age watch Euphoria?
well, oh my gosh, wait, we cannot compare. We cannot
We
compare
can.
Degrassi and Euphoria because
We can.
with no, because in Degrassi, it's not like every other minute they're showing someone snort a line of coke and or sucking some guy's dick. Like the amount of penis that I've seen
Okay, yeah.
within this whole like season and this season and last season has been more than I've probably seen in my DMs. Like, okay,
No, okay, no, I do
not
agree.
my DMs. I'm sorry. That's too much information.
I do agree. There's a lot of nudity, And we were just talking about this. Like, I feel like season 1, you know, there was nudity. I'm like, oh my god, so many freaking pink penises. Okay, and
Yeah.
then episode 1, season 2, I'm like, okay. Last night's episode, I'm like, wow. Is this softcore or like what is like? There's so much nudity. Like the scene with Kat and like
The
like
Dothraki.
the Dothraki, and then his dick is like his penis
Just out there.
I'm like, oh my, like I just didn't expect it. That whole scene was kind of weird though, like the blood gushing out and all that. Like, I hope there isn't too much like symbolism, like visual symbolism this season, because I'm not really a fan of that. But
Yeah, here's the thing. It's of course the craziness about this, and this is what I like and what I'm kind of getting used to, is that dark comedy of it all, right? Is just it is very Euphoria is very comedic in a way, but it's very dark. So to kind of see this play out, it would maybe be in that way, which is different than Degrassi, and going back to it, because with Degrassi, you're seeing those real issues, obviously, and they are a very, I mean, you have teenage pregnancy, you have abortions, you have, drug use, you have school shootings. Yes, all of that stuff, and all of that stuff does happen in high schools. I just don't know if, like, with Euphoria, it's so often, and it's so common, and it feels like
it's a
so
smaller pool
cool.
of people, though. It's a smaller pool of people, so I feel like the storylines are more intense versus like Degrassi. I mean, each season they were adding like 2 or 3 more storylines of like different people. So it was just kind of like a snippet of each person's life versus like, honestly, and I said this about season 1, and my best friend was like, no, like, every character gets their own episode to tell their story. This show is quite literally about Nate. Like, you might think that it's about Rue, but it is about Nate. Like, this show is about Nate. Like, the main storyline, if we took a poll, the main storyline that people are maybe not care about, but are most interested in, aside from the actor themselves, is going to be Nate. Like, people are going to say Rue because who doesn't love Zendaya? But the main storyline that's like captivating is Nate and everything that comes with him, his love triangle, his anger issues, and like just viciousness, his dad, which Dr. Sloan,
I actually really loved him on Grey's Anatomy. He
but
good looking man.
Yeah, this entire show is about Nate. Like, it's actually insane.
Actually, after you saying that, I very much agree with you. You take Nate out of this, scenario, and there isn't really much, because you're right. Yeah. Like, the whole beef with Fez right now is with Nate. The whole triangle you said with Maddie and Cassie is of Nate. The whole Jules situation in season 1 was with Nate. The whole reason any of that happened with Rue was really toward Nate.
Yeah.
So you kind of take him out of that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's like integral to the show. Whereas there's some people that you could take out of the show and it wouldn't really impact the show.
Absolutely.
Like, the show will go on, which is very interesting. And honestly, the actor that plays Nate, I forget what his name is, but like, he's such a good actor. Like, I watched one of his interviews, like, with Jimmy Fallon, like, last week. First of all, he's randomly Australian. Okay.
I love him. I love his accent too.
Jimmy Fallon. His what is his name?
I forgot his name too.
Jacob Elordi.
Yes, Elordi.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He, like, his personality is so different from the character, and I feel like me becoming a film critic these days, like, that's so crazy to think that, like, you're a complete, like, acting is so cool, But like
Mhm.
you're a completely different person, but then like the American accent, like I'm sorry, if I had to do an American accent, I would be sounding like Tyler Crispin. Like if I wanted to sound like a white boy, like I would be sounding like Tyler Crispin. That's the only way I would know how to do it. Like, yeah, bro. Like I wouldn't know how to do like just like a regular voice, you know, I wouldn't know how to do
Yeah.
it. It's just so crazy that
Mm.
yeah, that's a thing. But that's an aside.
So, how did we feel? Let's talk about these characters a little bit, right? So, wow. I don't even know where to start because we can tell the kind of were you able to tell the difference because the main difference between season 1 and season 2 is that it's completely um on film. Like this is now videoed on film. So it's like this Kodak film that is making it look like way more like rustic and theatrical, and it's just I love the cinematography of it all. um but it also I don't know, makes it so much more dramatic. And obviously as the first season, as the first episode, that first episode, it was like bringing in the whole Cassie scene, because it was about Cassie and Fez, really, right? um it showed Fez and his background. And by the way, Fez can be easily one of my favorite characters
Oh my
too,
god, I love Fez. Yeah.
because these, like, I think what's amazing about this show is their supporting characters. Everybody just kind of like has a part in this play. And I love how Fez is, yes, this drug dealer, and he's like doing all of these crazy wild things, and yet he's so fucking
Likeable.
lovable. Like it's like, how do you make this happen? Like I love Fez.
I love Fez. Fez, like personality wise, is the type of guy I would have completely fallen for in high school. Like I would have been like obsessed, but I would have been obsessed with everyone. Um,
You'd be like Cassie and thinking you could change Nate as well.
oh
Don't
my
we
god,
all?
yes, yes, Debbie. Literally, you and I were here. Like in high school, I was very much like, oh my god, he's a drug dealer. He's been to jail twice and prison once. He just needs me in his life. Like,
Oh my god, the toxicity of it all. You know what? I think it's hard for me to watch this because I'm already at a point in my life where we get older and we're like, I'm done with the toxic, I'm done with all this toxic shit. And then you watch things like Euphoria and it just like gets you back into this kind of like, yeah, girl, I've been there. It's you date them. I mean, I used to date someone who had I fell in love. I had a best friend that I fell in love with who had a girlfriend, and I was like dating him for quite a while. And um and always thought that he was going to leave this magical girlfriend or whatever, because I never saw her. She was never in the picture. There was no ounce or trace of her. And when I mean besties, I mean I used to go to his house. We all used to hang out together, like his friends, my friends. Like it was a whole ordeal. And you're thinking
damn
you can
Jess,
change this person, huh?
damn Jess.
I know. I mean, but I guess that's what happens when you're 18. I was 18. I was 18. So this is a very common thing, right? You're just kind of like, I don't care. I'm going to change. He loves me. He doesn't love her. Like there is
I
no
know.
her. I don't even
That
know
was
who that exists. She doesn't even exist,
very like
you know?
dating ain't married. Like,
And yeah, I know, Debbie, please, nobody think less of me. Obviously, I'm not that girl. That was me in my 17, 18 age range. And I'm just saying, like, people
yeah,
grow and they get better. And but you have that mentality of just like, I can change this person. I'm in love with this person. And so like I see it in Cassie, and it's like, but is this you? Like I was truly in love with this man. It wasn't like I was just going constantly from guy to guy to guy to guy to guy looking for acceptance. And it makes me feel cringe for Cassie. Like, to be quite honest, Cassie's not my favorite right now.
she's not. But like, I think I empathize with Cassie just because like I've been there. You know, like maybe not episode 2, season 2, but up until last week's episode, like I've definitely Ew.
I was not doing that. I was not doing that. Thank God I was not doing that.
Nasty. But yeah, no, up until like last week's episode, like I just empathize with Cassie. Like I mean, I know what it's like to be like boy crazy and like, oh, like I just love being in love. Like I just love being in relationships. Like I just love like people like telling me I'm pretty and how much they like me and like doing little nice things for me. Like, so I completely get it. I just like Nate of all people, like this is the same guy, like, and you know that he didn't like you. Like, you could feel the vibes when she was with McKay. Like, she could feel the vibes that he was like anti. Like, oh, were you guys in a relationship? Like, very condescending. Like, why him? You know? But whatever. I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes, as far as the show goes. But I feel like we can't talk about Cassie and Nate without talking about the amount of sex scenes. Like, it's just crazy that I know she has a boyfriend, and I believe he was dating someone during filming. So I'm just like, I mean, obviously it's acting, but like
Acting is an art. Acting is an art.
Acting's an art, but I mean, they kind of look good together. So
Well, the whole idea, right, and that's the crazy part, because when you're looking at it as actors, you're just like, okay, well, this is them acting, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, it's really hard to kind of go from acting to real life, and it's like, and the reason they cast you is and do that is because there is some type of chemistry, like there has to be. That's why
her nipple was in his mouth. Like,
yeah, I will tell you that this whole Cassie and Nate situation, I feel like that chemistry it makes way more sense than a Maddie and Nate ever did.
yeah, I feel like Maddie and Nate don't really make sense. Like, he gives me like boring green bean casserole vibes, and she gives me like tres leche vibes. Is that racist? My bad. My bad.
Tres leches vibe.
I'm just saying, like, she gives me more like, she's more interesting. She's more like, you know, fun to watch. She has more like just energy. Like, they're two completely different people. He's very like white picket fence, like suburban vibes, you know, 2.5 kids and a dog, like very much like all American. And she is not. Versus Cassie is more like of an all-American vibe, like submissive and like, you know, like blonde hair and like they make sense. Whereas like, I just thought it was interesting that Cassie and Nate were like together in the first place.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right? Not that it's leches. Let's strike that off. I'm gonna have to like, oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to edit this shit. No, but yeah, it is and I agree, actually. I agree with Debbie in a lot of this. Like, he likes the thrill of trying to dominate Maddie. It is all very, very toxic, right? And Maddie does like love the money. She wants that life, and we saw a little bit of Maddie's story. Actually, we saw a lot of Maddie's story before and after, like in season 1 and in season 2. And now, you know, she is now a babysitter to a rich, affluent woman.
Looking
Did gorgeous. You say Minka Kelly? Oh my God, is she not gorgeous? I was like, is that gorgeous. Minka Kelly? Are you serious? This is, I mean, she was gorgeous in Friday Night Lights, but I was like, whoa, she's even more stunning. And it seems like, we also got 3 new characters that I think are going to be, it seems like from what people have been writing and talking about, is that they're either all 3 or a couple of those 3 are going to be reoccurring characters. So whether it's going to be Minka, which I think would make sense if they wanted to bring in like a parent, like an older person, to kind of bring in a little bit more drama to something else. I don't know. Maybe she starts fucking Nate. How about that? Maybe she finds Nate. dominating.
Mrs.
It's just dominating.
Robinson.
Yeah.
I hope not. The Mrs. Robinson trope has been done to death. I hope they leave that out. But I see what Paige said. I love the addition of Elliot. Like, I think he's very like sweet, very soft, and like, yeah, like he's like the friend that you get high with, you know, instead of like, I don't know.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very interesting thing because I already see the Elliot's going to fall in love with Rue vibe. Like you can kind of already see it. Right?
I love it.
And yeah.
Did you know he's 26? In real life, he's 26 years old.
I think all of them are around that age.
But he literally looks like he's 18. He looks like a baby. Like, he looks like he's like 18. Don't say he doesn't. He looks very, very young. He has a baby face. Like, he looks very young. I was very surprised to see that. And him and Jules are dating in real life.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, really? Yeah. Elliot and Jules?
Hunter Schafer, and I think his name is Dominic Fike.
Yeah.
They're dating.
Yeah, Dominic. Yeah, Dominic Fike. And he's actually an artist in real life, like a singer, songwriter.
Sure, but like, oh my god, I love the cast like dating each other. Like, love that.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what's gonna happen. You know?
Jacob and Zendaya used to date. That's how I like got introduced to who he was, because I'm obsessed with Zendaya, of course, and they used to date like a year ago or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's and with Paige says it's interesting that Rue's been more forthcoming with him about her life than she has with Jules, but this is a life of an addict, right? Like, she is obviously the relationship she has with Elliot right now is purely because of their love of drugs. Like, so this is more kind of I wouldn't say a trauma bond, but like, what kind of a bond would that be, right?
Yeah, I think it's just someone that like you can relate to, so you're just comfortable just talking around them.
Yeah, because you're like, you accept me and my bad habits. We all have had the friend that's probably not good for us, but we like to party with them and we go out with them when our friends,
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's kind of like, okay, I have this group of friends and that group of friends. And so this group of friends doesn't like to party. They're probably better for me. They're like, they're going toward the goals that I want to be. But then I have these other friends that we just fuck around with. And like, you know, and if I just want to, I don't want to be judged by this group of friends. So I'm going to hang out with this group of friends when I want to party a little bit and when I want to be a little wild and extra, you know, and then there's no judgment.
It's important to have like different types of friends, like that bring different things to the table for you, because that's how you become more well-rounded as a person. Like, I know some people are against that. Like, oh, you know, you shouldn't separate like your work, your like girl boss friends and your like friends. Yes, you should. Like, yes,
mix
you
them.
Should. Yeah, I think sometimes you can have friends, like your best friends or whatever, that you can probably do everything with. But I mean, I'm not about to sit here and talk about my hopes, dreams, and goals with someone that I'm like, you know, having fun in Miami with, you know, like it just doesn't make sense. Like, that's not where the conversation goes. So
let's talk about some of these friendships, right? Because actually, Debbie said it right. I was right about to talk about this. There was a little moment where Jules and Maddie kind of got together, and she said the cutest thing, right? She said to Maddie, "I wish you could see yourself the way the way the world sees you." And as soon as she said that, I started singing Ariana Grande. I was like, "I love to see me from a point of view." Like, I was like, because it is true. Like, a lot of us see. Like, I would see a lot of my friends, and some of them will be like looking at themselves in the mirror and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so this, I'm so ugly, I'm so fat, I'm so this and that." And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like this, and you know, and I know that people see me the same way. We obviously, we are our own worst critics. However, this whole Jules and Maddie situation, like at this point, Maddie knows that Jules was the one
In the video.
who in the video, right? She has the video. Like this is gonna be the most trifling shit in the next I already see the foreshadowing. The whole idea that Jules was like, I wish you could see yourself, and they have this cute little bond so that Maddie can fuck it all up because that's the bitch that she is. Like mind you, this is her new friend, not an old friend. So, and she already knows that Nate has been looking at this whole Jules thing. She probably put two and two together and knows that it was Jules in Nate's like pictures.
I mean, she definitely knows that it's Nate's dad, you know, and Nate's dad and Maddie had that weird conversation on the stairwell. So she knows like where she said like this whole family is just fucking weird. And here's further confirmation of that for her, you know, more evidencia to add to the y'all are fucking weird pile. And then, you know, she's not even with Nate. So here's what I see happening. She finds out about Nate and Cassie. She exposes Nate's dad because she's vindictive, she's young, like whatever. Jules is caught in the crossfire because it's like, not only are you exposing the dad, but you're also exposing me. So it's just going to be a shitstorm. And I'm here for it. I can't wait.
I think someone said, do we think Maddie suspects Cassie and Nate are hooking up? Look, I think Maddie's a cynical bitch. Like, I think that it has probably crossed her mind. I don't think she's dumb.
I think that you can tell when your best friend's energy shifts. Like, you spend so much time with the girl. Season 1, she said, episode 1, season 2, she said Cassie always picks up the phone. So when she FaceTimed Nate, didn't pick up, then FaceTimed Cassie, didn't pick up, and then there was that weird moment in the hallway where she's looking at her like, bitch, why are you acting like that?
Yeah.
So
I mean, messy.
Two together.
Yeah. I think after a while, when you know your friend, when you know your best friend, you know, and there was so much foreshadowing in this episode when you actually look at it, because they were also in the pool together, and she was like, you can't be, like, she said something to the point of like, you can't be alone, like you love being in love, or you love, what was it? It was kind of like, you love people loving you, or some shit like that. Like Maddie, like, there's a lot of things I don't like about Maddie, but one thing that Maddie is not is a dumb bitch. Like, she is very not dumb.
Yeah, she's very street smart, and I love that about her. Cassie definitely gives dumb bitch vibes. Like, I feel like if the roles were reversed, Cassie would never catch on. She would never catch on. But here, we also have to remember that Nate is like very close with McKay. So not only are you sleeping with your girlfriend's best friend, but you're sleeping with your best friend's ex-girlfriend. Like, after you were talking so much shit about her, about why they shouldn't be together. Like, Nate is trash. Trash.
Yeah, but we still love him.
I love him as an addition to the show. Like, I like the show, and I feel like the show isn't much without him. However, I mean, it's giving. I'm just glad that I'm at an age and like at like a mature point in my life where I can separate the actor from the character, because I used to not be able to do that. Like, I used to be like, oh my God, watching Power and just getting pissed at Angela, and I'm like, that fucking, and then when I would see her pop up on my Discover page, the actress, I'd be like, this fucking bitch, like, literally, and this is like a few years, this is like 5 years ago.
Yeah, they do such a good job at being hated. Like, there's such, and then you realize, oh, this is not who they are in real life. This is literally just a, you know,
it's literally, they're reading a script.
Yes, exactly. I think Paige said, did you notice that Jules was a part of Nate's fantasy at the beginning? And yeah, it was kind of like with the whole Rue. I mean, and of course, which is weird that Rue is narrating all of this. I really wish that the person who was experiencing this was narrating it, because
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. It's like, why the fuck would Rue know what he's experiencing? Like,
Right.
to me, it's a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that, but you're completely right. Like they should have like the point of view be from the person who's experiencing it. Like
Yeah.
Nate's like foreshadowing of his like perfect like marriage and life. I feel like he should have narrated that. That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, because I was reading, well, it's kind of like what it goes from what their desires are to what actual reality is, right? Because it's kind of like, oh, well, Rue is talking about how Nate like falls in love with Cassie and he pictures this life with her, and he a white picket fence and all this, like these are his desires in life, right? I want to hear that. I would like to hear that from Nate,
Yeah.
because it's kind of like, to me, it, and I, going back to this whole like Jules thing and seeing Jules there, it's that contrast, right? The idea of Cassie is what Nate wants. That would be the perfect girl. The blonde hair, the white picket fence, the perfect body. Like she's like, well, in sense to him, she
Yeah.
is a normal, that's not the right word.
No, I know what you mean though. That's like
Atypical, like she's like the normative, like
on paper.
heterosexual, woman, versus someone who's completely different, which is still in his mind, who is Jules. Like, and to go with Cassie, that's his dream, because that would mean that he's a normal heterosexual cisgender
But
male,
I think that the issue with not issue, but I feel like Jules' addition to all of this is from like unpacking the weight that he's been carrying all these years with his dad. You know, like I don't think it's necessarily that he's attracted to Jules. Like I think sure maybe in a way, but I think had he not known all of this about his dad and seen all of these videos of his dad with like trans women like Jules, then it might not have presented itself. Um, because like in season one, we see that he loves the fact that he's like the ideal son for his dad. Like his dad really respects him. He like looks at him as like the model child versus like his older brother, like all this stuff. So he's like what his dad, like he's like kind of following in his dad's footsteps in a way. Especially with the comment that his dad made at the chili stand where he's like, look at my life, look at the family that I have, look at the success that I've built. It's because I've done all these things to set it up in the right way. And I feel like Nate is kind of like following that track. So I feel like his like pull towards Jules is because he sees himself as like a version of his father, if that makes sense.
That actually would make a good amount of sense. I mean, like I can definitely see that. Um let's go back to, I think one of the things that people were saying here was, uh that Cassie and Nate kind of get caught in a way. And
That's
that
a
there's
Rue,
some,
man. Like, Rue, are you gonna tell anyone? Like, open your open your mouth. Like, and I know she's not because she's probably gonna forget for quite some time because she was on her way to go get high. So it was
yeah.
probably she was probably like, oh shit, because believe me, I've been there plenty of times where I'm on my way to go get lit. I see something that shouldn't be happening, and I'm like, damn. Like,
You're like,
anyway,
oh
so
shit, oh shit, and then you just don't say anything, and then you
you
just
carry
forget.
on with your life. You carry on because it really has nothing to do with Rue, If anything, it's like gossip. Like there are things I remember like 2 weeks ago. Remember when I texted you when I went out to dinner with a few people and I was like, remind me to tell you about such and such.
Yeah.
And I should have just told you in that moment.
You should have, because then I was like, hey, didn't you say you were gonna tell me them? She's like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I don't even
I have
remember
no,
what that
and
was,
I
because she was already, because there were already drinks involved. There was probably
literally
already,
on
it
my way
was,
to go get lit. Yeah, like, oh my God.
no, and it happens all the time. And I agree with you. Who knows if she says it. Rue doesn't seem to be like the really gossipy type, but who's to say that maybe she would say it in conversation to Jules to kind of test the waters to see if that's still a thing.
That
Um,
and like she has a hate boner for Nate, which presents itself with Jules a lot. So
that's true too. But then at the same time, it's like, does Rue even care anymore? Rue's at the point right now where she's even lying to Jules about who she, like her hanging out with Elliot and just like all of these other things, because she wants her cake and she wants to eat it too. Like, she's not the same from season 1 where she's gonna be better for Jules. Jules already left her. Like, Jules like walked out, went on that train, left. Season 2, she's like, that's it. I'm picking drugs. Drugs don't let me down, type of thing. And now she wants her cake and eating it too. She's gonna get Jules and she's gonna get the drugs, and God forbid, like I'm pretty sure she's gonna end up in the hospital again. But oh wow, it's a lot, y'all. This is a lot. I think did we miss anything? Because I think,
I don't think
oh, the whole Fez and Lexi situation. Let me just tell you, I ship 1000%. I
no, it's
love
so
this.
cute. It's so sweet. Like I love it. I love Lexi having more of a presence this season. Like I would love to see like more of her backstory. We got a little bit of her backstory a little bit last episode of how she blamed herself for Rue overdosing, and then how she like saw her dad like taking the china and never said anything to anyone. So that's like kind of giving us a little glance into her personality. Not that we didn't already know that she was like meek and passive, but like it shows us just how passive she actually is, which is unfortunate. Because I don't think I was ever that passive. I would have been running my damn mouth. But yeah, I do love her and Fez.
I really understand this. I really understand Lexi. And I don't necessarily see it. I don't know if people were saying that it's more like that she's weak. I think that she is one who is trying to keep things together in a very chaotic family. When you're looking at a dad who's stealing, who's drug addicted, a mother who's an alcoholic, a sister who is pretty much in her eyes perfect, but I mean, I see Cassie as more weak than I do Lexi, to be quite honest. Because Cassie needs the validity, in her own, like, she can't see how beautiful she is, like. And I think you even hear it in this episode where Lexi just calls her a fucking idiot because she caved in terms of like just snitching someone out. Like, I think
But
Lexi
that's
is
because
a
she
true
likes
G.
Fez. That's because she likes Fez. Like
Well, yeah, but she also didn't snitch. She didn't snitch on her dad. She didn't snitch on Rue. She didn't snitch, even though. So I feel like she's a very loyal character. I don't necessarily see it as weak. I think
I see it.
that.
I see it as
Uh,
very weak. I think they're both weak in different ways. Like I think that Cassie's insecure, but I think that Lexi is like she has no backbone.
hmm.
But that's just me. That's just
But
me.
I feel that weak would also mean, if she was weak and she was this person, then she would be doing drugs. She would be like
So
more fucked up than half of the people that she's around. Like,
we
that
can
is
express
not.
itself in different ways, girl. Don't do that, Jess. Look, this yet again agreeing to disagree, but like I feel like weakness manifests itself in very different presents itself in very different
Mm.
ways. Like, yes, exactly. Two variations of weak.
Mm.
Lexi's weak. Like, and she's gonna have to find her voice at some point in life. Like, and hopefully it happens this season. But I understand the stuff with her dad, you know, but I know if my best friend was about to like go off the deep end on like oxys, I would definitely say something
Mm.
at any point in my life because, and I think in high school it would have been a very different version. Like I would have said something because I would have felt like it was interrupting my life and it was an inconvenience to me, which is not the right way to look at it.
Yeah. But here's the thing, like in a season or in a series where all of the characters are absolutely weak, I think all of them are weak. I think Maddie's weak. I think, the fact that that she can't let go of Nate, that she gets abused and gets hit and gets whatever and is still there. That's not strength to me. That's like she's a version of like a more passable version of a bully that gets beaten down, who beats others. Like that's how I see Maddie. I don't see her as being strong. I don't see any of them as being strong individual characters. You're right. They're absolutely all weak for different reasons. But like I don't necessarily see Lexi as the super weakest person either. Like, just because she decides that she's not speaking up in certain situations. And you're right. Maybe this season, like, she is going to find her voice. Maybe she will, like,
I feel like with Maddie though, like I feel like, and this is gonna sound so bad, like I'm not hating on Lexi, like I like her, but I feel like weakness is part of her personality. You know, like I feel like it would be a reoccurring thing in several situations. Whereas I feel like with Maddie, I do agree, like when it comes to Nate, she's weak, but I feel like that's when it comes to Nate, you know? I feel like when you've been in a relationship with someone for X amount of time, it's hard to like separate that a little bit. And that is a weakness. I agree. But I just feel like it's an isolated situation,
yeah.
whereas we've seen it as a constant with Lexi.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, someone said, I only see Jules as somewhat of a strong character. I
Yeah.
feel like she definitely comes off as a lot stronger than most. And Matthew says, I don't think Lexi is any more weak than any of the others. I think the point is none of the teenagers should be carrying the trauma they're experiencing. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, like this is major trauma. Like I'm traumatized by watching this. Actually, do you get triggered at all, Kemi? Like for me, like I watch some of this stuff and it kind of triggers me a little bit because I identify with so many different characters. Like there's always something that goes on with each individual character that I can identify with. And sometimes the traumas that they experience, I'm just kind of like, whoa, that just brought me to like remember something that happened that I probably didn't want to remember back in high school. But I also have friends that got pregnant at 13, like had their kids at 14. I have, like, so in a way, which is kind of weird when you said that your high school is kind of like this, but I'm like, what? But I did have,
Your
teenage
high school life.
pregnancies. I have friends who have had abortions. Like we went to daytimes, cut school to go and, have parties like while school was still in session. Like we did all of these things. It's just, I don't know. I just never saw it as something super dark the way I see this show. It's so weird.
I think it's also because like, you know, you're so separated from it. Like I had to remember what my high school was like. Like it's not something that you think about all the time. It was so long ago. Like high school for me was I graduated 2011. So it's like that's like 10 years ago, you know? So I'm just like, you know, I had to like put myself back in high school. That's why I kept saying like I would love to see myself as a Maddie because that's how I am now. But like remembering what things were like back then and remembering the situations that you were in high school and how you actually acted in those situations, not how you would act in those situations now. Like Euphoria is very realistic, you know. I feel like it does a very good job of being realistic. Like, I'm surprised though that they haven't tapped into like the bullying aspect anymore. Like, because there was a lot of like bullying in my high school, not really with the women in like a violent way. Like, it was just like catty, like girl shit. But with the boys, like, some of that shit was bad. And like, I'm just surprised. I mean, I guess they did actually with Nate and like the guy Tyler, which was insane in season 1. But yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, I guess, I didn't see a lot of bullying, but then again, I was at a school that had 4,000 plus people. So, and as Debbie said, like we did see Maddie kind of beating some girls up. So, like I said, like Nate and Maddie were both kind of like, but I said those bullies. They were the bullies. So, I I'm absolutely excited to see what the next episode is going to entail because this trailer was insane. I don't even know what's really going to happen, but we saw that Nate completely ghosts her in the middle of the hallway. Like we see such a different Cassie. Like this is a Cassie that I am gonna absolutely hate because it's
yeah,
kind of like it's cringe and it's really kind of sadly to say pathetic in
yeah.
my opinion.
It's a little bit reminding me of someone that we mutually know.
Yeah, that it's gonna be one of those moments where we're just gonna be like, oh girl, that was not cute. Like I can't believe that you actually think this is gonna work out and
Yeah.
you did it to just conquer. Like I guess we've been there, but
I can't wait to see the scene where she's like dressed like Maddie, trying to like be like a version of Maddie. Like, I can't wait to see how that plays out. I can't wait to see how Maddie reacts to that, and then also how Nate reacts to that. Because what weirdo behavior would possess you to do something like that? Like, it's giving weird. Like, no. But we also didn't talk about my favorite part of last night's episode. Remember that girl from my school that you fucked, Jules?
wait.
When Nate said that to his dad?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
I could not believe that he said that.
That whole confrontation, right? That's the I'm so pissed off and I'm so mad that I'm just gonna it's kind of like you never had the balls to say it before because you were just trying to be like this great kid or this example of a son, and now you're just like at the I don't give a fuck stage where you're just like, oh, remember that girl that you fucked? Yeah.
Shaking the table. Like, I was like, I could not. And the way he said it was so like, so remember that girl that you fucked, Jules? Yeah. So she told so-and-so who told so-and-so. She didn't know you recorded her though. So maybe I was just trying to stick up for you. What you gotta say? He was like shocked, stunned. Because you know what? His dad did need to be humbled a little bit. Like, the skeletons are busting out your closet. They are busting out. And him acting all like, literally your son got beat up because he was like being a dick. You are a pedophile. So, I mean,
It's gonna be quite the mess. Like he didn't tell him if he had the tape or the DVD or whatever the hell is the CD. So the idea that he's gonna say what Maddie has it, I'm trying to be on her good side so I can find it, so I can grab it, so she doesn't expose us. So I'm like, what is going to happen? Yes, this is gonna be this is gonna be interesting. I'm all here for it. So this is our first. This is the first 2 episodes of the things that we loved. Let us know in the comments what you particularly loved. If there was something that we didn't cover that we can continue the conversation in the comments. If you don't already, click like, subscribe. Click like right now if you haven't clicked like so that it helps our algorithm. We'll be doing this. I feel like this is a really good time. Do you want to keep, is this a good time to just have our little Euphoria recaps on Mondays?
I like this time. I think this is a great time for me, but you guys let us know in the comment section once we post the video so that we can go back and see it because we won't be able to see the chat. But like, let us know in the comments, like if this is a good time for you guys, or if any other time on Mondays would be good for you guys.
Yeah.
Like literally, I cannot. I'm about to go rewatch the episode low key.
I
Maybe
know.
not, but like in a few.
It's like someone asked if we think anybody is gonna die this season. Absolutely, someone has to die.
I am deep into the Reddit, as Jess knows. I love all Reddit subreddits except for the one that might contain anything about me. But I'm into like the fan gossiping, and some people are saying that Jacob might die, or Nate might die. I don't see that happening. He's a huge part of the show, so yeah.
I don't know. To be quite honest, I'm thinking Nate's dad might die. That would probably be a better version, like to do Cal, because I think that at this point it would be better off for him to kill him off versus it like exposing everything. I feel like he's the type of man where he's like
Very
he's
proud.
strong but weak in that sense. Like he's proud and he would rather kill himself than deal with the scrutiny and everything that might happen if this all came out. So not that I condone it, obviously we're all talking just in hypotheticals. But I mean in real life I feel like that's what would happen. But I agree. I don't think there in no way Nate would die. I would see that the Euphoria would just like not work.
That would be detrimental to the show. But it has been amazing chatting with you guys. Drop us the comments in the comment section. Let us know if this time works for you guys. And also, what was the other thing you said, Jeff?
I just said click like, subscribe. Let us know in the comments if there's anything that we missed that you would like us to address either for next week, or we are on the comments or on Twitter. We're constantly talking about this, so let us know. Also, Girl Let's Agree to Disagree in 2022 is going to be lit. So we are covering so many different shows. Euphoria's newest on our list on Mondays, but we are also covering Drag Race on Saturdays with Busy Blue and Braden White. We this coming week we're going to bring in the regular schmegulars, which is Adam and a Big D, to talk about Drag Race. We are covering Survivor Australia, January 31st. We will be putting up some information on how you could be a member if you do not have a way to watch Survivor Australia live. We will be posting that. We have Celebrity Big Brother, February 2nd, and then our regular, oh my gosh, there's just so much. So make sure you click like, subscribe, and receive those notifications so that you know when things will be on. And yeah. I think that's it. That's a lot. Yeah, so we will see you all later.